All right, what's up, guys? What's up, Facebook? We have Kelly Garcia here, broker, investor, and real estate coach. Hi, Kelly. How you doing?
I did great. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. So I wanted to get you on here to kind of speak to my real estate friends that I have on here, my brokers and real estate investors, and kind of just tell us a little bit about your background and what do you currently do and specialize in.
Okay, great. So I've been involved in real estate a little over 20 years. It started as kind of a whim. It wasn't my intention to grow up and be a realtor. My first intention was just to get by. I have a degree in education, and I was a school teacher 20 something years ago. Real estate was an idea to keep the bills paid. So the very first thing that I bought was an investment property. It was a duplex, live in one side, rent the other. And pretty much what it meant was that somebody else was making the bill every month. And right then and there became a landlord and an investor for the first time at the age of about 22. My parents had been landlords with a couple of homes. They weren't a big deal in a big city, and just wasn't something I was really interested in. But at that point, it made sense. So that grew into was about 10 investment properties in 2 years, because of that savings of not having a mortgage payment. And I did have a W-2. So, people were willing to give out a lot of money in the mid 1990s too. You didn't have to have nearly as much going through. So yeah, they're giving loans, we're buying properties, just keep investing. That grew into something by 2010 that was a large property ownership and management company. We had 43 rentals. We were doing rehabs, flips, wholesaling. Again, I'm still teaching school at that point. So it was a busy time, having children. But a lot of us went through the 2000s foreclosure crisis, and my business took a turn and started to change. One thing is we were picking up a lot of those properties that were distressed, but also decided I need to really get into this because I understand a lot about foreclosures and the bank-owned properties and all of those things. I need to get my real estate license is what it came down to. At this point, I did not have a real estate license. So got the license, got my broker's license so I could run my own brokerage, opened up a small brokerage, and
Oops, we lost her for some reason. Okay, okay, let me get you back on the broadcast. Sorry, sorry, we lost you for a minute. There you go, you're back.
all right, I am back in business. So where I was at is I opened a small brokerage, and that was in 2010. And a couple years later, joined a major brokerage. Realized I needed the education and training, and just from right there, have just had been on kind of a trajectory that's just been amazing. Running teams, sometimes larger teams. I'm still investing, still doing wholesaling. I am now also a real estate coach. So I started as a productivity coach and have moved into both real estate and business coaching with Hero Nation. And that's where my heart and passion is. Like I said, the beginning of the story, I was an educator. So now I've been able to take all these years of experience and the ups and downs of the market and put it into education and help other business owners grow. So that's me. That's what I do.
All right, so let's go back a little bit to when you were first starting as an agent. What difficulties did you kind of like face as far as getting new business, and how did you go about that?
All right. I think the biggest thing was just a lack of confidence. It's like I knew that I had been doing the things for myself for all these years. And when you're working for yourself, the only person you have to please is yourself. And then all of a sudden there's I'm working with the public, which is a whole different thing. And it was that confidence to go out and show people, I've been doing this for a long time, I can do this. But then you're also under the culture of, other companies and know what they're doing and new paperwork and it was just a lot of learning curve. It was overwhelming. But as far as lead generation, I just went out there and hustled. I was willing to, I get that confidence going pretty quick, knock on doors, meet other business owners, do whatever I could, just pretty much talk to everybody I could possibly talk to about real estate. So it didn't matter if it was the dentist cleaning my teeth or the checkout person. Everybody knew I was in business. So,
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So as far as door knocking, did you focus on one farm area or did you just go everywhere?
I did focus on the neighborhood that I lived in and the surrounding ones, as that was my script was, hey, I'm your neighbor. It started like that. I'm your neighbor. I live right over there. 'Cause they know you live close by. They feel like they can have a little level of trust. But yeah,
Yeah.
just some door knocking, some mailers, postcards to those neighborhoods. Just working to build up a database is what it is.
As far as I'm very fascinated by online lead generation and online marketing. As far as online marketing, what have you done so far that's bringing you good, let's say ROI on your good return on your investment?
I did a lot more in those beginning years because I didn't have a great database. So I paid for leads, online. And we started with some of the major players, Zillow, Trulia, those things, putting my face on pages just so I would get leads. And it worked great. But as those things they increased in looking for agents to buy in, they decreased in how many they were handing out. And I realized that this isn't worth it anymore. And I'm starting to build a community of people that I can more organically bring business. So I jumped quickly to working the database of the people that I had already served and not so much the online. And then my big second is business to business networking with other business owners because they are my best advocates. And because I'm helping their businesses, they want to send me business too. And that has been really successful for me the last few years.
So, what kind of like value proposition do you offer to business owners to have that kind of relationship?
Yeah, I give them business. It's very simple. So it's like I'll say an electrician. They have a small business, they're locally owned. Those are the people I look for, not the big major franchise companies. I want to find the guy who's decent. He's got a good business going. He's running. He's an electrician. Now, because of the nature of my business, I refer that quite a bit. We get repair lists on the properties we sell. So I would look for every time I could find somebody that, if they needed electric work, I'd always send it to that person. And by sending them business consistently, they almost always start to do the same because they realize, like, hey, this lady keeps sending me business. I need to help her too. And if I can teach them also to look for business for me. So not only are they going to ask when they go to a property to do electric work, are you doing this because you're planning to sell? Are you doing a new light or something because you're planning to sell? But they will also look for other opportunities in neighborhoods like, hey, I saw this one property, it looks abandoned, here's some information I drove by, or I saw a buy owner sign in a yard. So sometimes there's those buy owners out there that we don't see because they don't post them online, but my electrician, my lawn guy, my plumber, my whoever, they see that stuff from me. So they send it to me. So they're sending things. So then I have a script when I call, hey, my electrician was out in the neighborhood working on a house and noticed that you have a sign in the yard and I wanted to ask you about it. So
Hmm.
they help me out a lot. And we can build those relationships where they feel like I'm going to continue to help their business grow, and they will almost always send them to me as well.
So, a word of mouth as well is huge for your business.
It absolutely.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So, as far as how do you get your referrals? You get referrals from other agents?
I do. I do quite a bit, and I use it through our company has a network place to like post profiles and information, and that it comes a lot the same way. Is that if I'm sending business consistently to a neighboring town? So I live in the Tulsa, Oklahoma market, and Oklahoma City is about 100 miles away, and those are the two markets, the major markets in our state. So there's a lot of movement of buyers and sellers in between those two. So it's identifying the agents that are going to be your partners there. So I send a lot of things to Dallas. I've got connections there with those people. And I found, again, it's the giver's gain thing, is as much as I can give first, and then they return it. And then we built that relationship. So I seek places to give people business so they will return. But yes, we get them from all over the country. And part of that, my win for that is just having a really great online profile for that. So in those Facebook groups where they do referral networking, in our company's group, I pay attention to the profile. I'm picky about how it's worded, and I answer my phone, which helps a lot too. So
Okay, cool, cool. And I think you mentioned you're with Keller Williams, right?
yes,
And do you run your own team? Do you have your own team?
I do. I have a training team. It's set up a little bit different than, people usually buy into teams because they want buyer's agents or they want someone to take off some of the weight. Really, the way I set up my team is so that I have some people that are a part of my team for the purpose of coaching. So they're there so that I can teach them the ropes, train them, have daily accountability check-ins, practice with things. So it's just another piece of my coaching business is really what it's become, rather than just a real estate producing team. So,
Okay. Cool, cool. How long have you been with KW?
it's 2012 was when fall of 2012 is when I joined, and that's when I pretty much took my brokerage and just put it under the name, and that was that was a good move. I'll tell you, it really was. And I thought if I was just by myself, it's like, oh, I'll keep all my commissions. It's awesome. I never have to pay anybody. But I didn't realize all the things that were going to be provided for me as far as just keeping compliant and those protections and all that. So I do enjoy being under a larger brokerage heading.
Yes, definitely, definitely. So as far as following up, or let me go back a little bit more. Do you work more with buyers or sellers
Right
mostly?
now, more with sellers, definitely, because I know the value of leads, listings, and leverage. Those listings are what's going to leverage you. And I tell the newer agents too, you want to focus on those listings because you can deal with 20 listings at the same time. Dealing
Hmm.
with 20 buyers, you might not ever sleep. So,
Yes.
and the commissions are typically the same, as far as what you're going to take home on that. So I encourage people to go for the listings, and they do bring, the listings will bring more leads for you as well. Right now, my focus is on coaching. So those are the places that, I'm doing a lot of my lead generation is reaching out to agents and doing different programs. I speak at masterminds, things like that, to build the coaching. But I'm going to hold listings as well, to supplement that.
Okay. Cool, cool. That's definitely something a lot of agents have trouble with is getting listing appointments. For let's say for somebody that is not really social and going out there and door knocking, what do you prefer a good method for them to kind of get people on the phone or get people that are interested in listing their home?
I'm a fan of I am a fan of the buy owners and the expired listings because they've already identified themselves as somebody who's needs to sell.
Hmm.
But I'm even more a fan of building a community that knows you as an agent that can sell their home. And what I mean by that is, again, I mentioned I have children, and just being out in the with them, like volunteering to work the concession stand at the football game. Those types of things have brought me listings, because
Hmm.
I'm there serving and I'm just there working and we're just talking about things, and it just always, inevitably it's going to turn to real estate. We're going to talk because, and then more they know it, the more they ask. They see me and they go, "Hey, how's the market?" That's what they lead with, and that has brought me so much business over the last few years. Is just being a part of my community. So I don't have to go knock on their door. I show up at the HOA event, or heck, I sponsor it. Be there. I volunteer for the things there. My kids were in the high school marching band, so I would volunteer to do things on Saturdays to help them out, and that became just such a great source. And I didn't have to be salesy. I didn't have to. I would ask. I would do the ask, here and there, and a lot of times the ask just came from they could see my clothes are going to have something embroidered with my company name, or they just it comes up in conversation. They go, "Oh, what do you do?" People ask all the time, "What do you do?" "Oh, hey, I'm in real estate, and yeah, I've had a busy week. Gosh, we had a lot of closings this week." And then I leave it at that. I'm not, and then at some point I'll ask, like, "Hey, do you know anyone looking to sell?" Because I've got buyers looking in our area here, where, the schools area, and it turns into those conversations. The
Yeah.
win is being consistent with it. It's not like going one day and go, "Okay, it's Monday. I'm going to really work hard to get a listing today." No,
Hmm.
it's just every day. It's who you are. And if you're doing it within your hobbies, it feels more organic. So if your hobby is, frisbee golf or whatever it is, there's a community of people around that. You go do your hobby. A conversation will come up at some point. People are going to know what you do and that you're enjoying yourself, and you can help serve their businesses if possible. You look for ways to ask them, and then they can help you.
So basically, I mean, people love doing business with their friends. So you go out
Mm-hmm.
there to these events and you just kind of live your life. And in the process, you're not being salesy, but you're also letting them know that, hey, I'm a real estate agent. And if you ever need me, I'll be here for you.
Yes.
Basically, that's basically it. Um,
Exactly. And
yeah,
offer value. like offer value. You want to know, want to know something about the neighborhood, or if they mention, a lot of people mention they want to be investors because they saw something on HGTV or whatever, like, hey, I want to flip a house someday or something. Like, great. If you ever see an address that you want more information on, just send it over. Let me know. I can tell you everything about it. And that really, they're like, really? You would do that? Like, yeah, whatever you need. And then they remember that I'm going to offer value for them, free information, and deeper information than they can pull up online. And that's where I win them over. Is that actually happened today? Had somebody call on a property and they're like, oh, I saw this thing, on a website somewhere. Can you tell me about it? And I was able to tell them the history of this property way back. They're like, whoa, that's good information. They were thrilled that I had access to it and how quickly I had access to it. So now they're like, oh yeah, I got to call you when I see these first. So
Okay.
it's good.
So yeah, you're basically like the local expert or the go-to in the neighborhood, and they've met you through these soccer games and these events. Now,
Yeah.
at some point, does that ever die down, or is it always consistent?
It's consistent as much as I'm consistent. So,
Okay.
if I'm traveling a lot and I'm not being intentional about doing those things, then yeah, it's going to slow down. It has to be consistent. But there's the other level of it is once you've helped a number of people, you've helped, then they end up in the database. And then that's a whole other topic, is nurturing that database so that they will continue to send you referrals, and they just keep growing, just keeps expanding on itself, and it multiplies itself without you having to work as hard as you did in the beginning.
What kind of nurturing do you kind of do when you have all this database of people that already done business with you? Do you send them some kind of emails? Do you send them gifts, birthday cards? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, pretty much two buckets. I have a VIP bucket, and then I've got everyone else. The VIP bucket ends up in a private Facebook group that does not have any other real estate agents or lenders or anybody real estate related in it. Because again, I want to be the expert. I want to be the expert in the room. So they go into a VIP group. They're treated better. They get lives all the time. They get more mailings. They get more things, offers of just information, but also movie tickets, things like that. Just being able to offer them some value in more ways than one. And they're not always, I want to point out, sometimes like, oh, your VIPs have to be people who you've done business with. Not always. Sometimes my VIPs are people who know a lot of people. They're influencers. They have a huge database themselves with their business. So I actually have someone in my VIP that I've never helped them buy or sell a home, but they've sent me 5 or 6 referrals. Because they're just that kind of those kind of people. They meet people all the time. So that's the bucket A. And then my second bucket is the everyone else. So they are the people that I may or may not have done business with. They're the Mets. You've met them at an open house, or you met them somewhere. They asked for information at some point. So I do some social media and other place advertising. And if they end up giving me their name, email, phone number, they're going to go into that other bucket, and they're on some kind of search. A lot of them, I find the best way to keep in touch with them, rather than sending an email on the first of the month, a drip campaign, a drip campaign that's like, hey, spring forward this month, or it's fall, time to clean up leaves. I would rather send them an email that says, hey, did you see this really great property that just popped up on the market in our neighborhood? Boom. It's something they're interested in, they want to see. And it changes. It's not the same canned email all the time. I like having those searches set up for them. So, and a lot of that's automated, so I don't have to look at it all the time. But I'll have a search set up for a particular street or their neighborhood, or even a particular property. If they've asked me about a property and it was something that wasn't for sale yet, or it was pending foreclosure or something like that, I'll have a search set up on that property alone, so that they get an email from me when it comes up. And then they're like, gosh, she's been watching that property for me for years. And the truth is, I just have a system. I just have it set up, they're watching it. And then my system alerts me that they got an email and that they opened it. So then I know what's going on.
What kind of CRM system do you use to kind of like, do what you just talked about, nurturing these leads and finding out if they really opened the email
Yeah.
one?
Those searches that I mentioned are in my MLS. Those are
Okay.
set up through my multi-list, but I use Lion Desk as a CRM for phone calls. It's got the dialer, the drip campaigns, those type of things are all in there. So yeah, we use Lion Desk, but the stuff that comes through our MLS, which we have Matrix, it's amazing. Just
Mm,
set them on the search and forget it.
okay. Sounds good. So a lot of automation goes into setting up that search. Um, can that be done on Line Desk as well?
Oh, sure. I mean, as far as linking a specific property in our system to Lion Desk, probably not. But we can link Facebook funnels, and click, they come in and click, they want more information, and they put in their information, it goes straight into Lion Desk so that they end up there ready to be dripped upon. So I call it.
Okay. So let's just go back to kind of your online marketing. When you get online leads, what's the next step in pre-qualifying them and making sure that they are a serious buyer? Because
Yeah.
I get a lot of real estate online leads, and maybe like 5% are really interested in buying a house, and the rest are just messing around on the internet. How do you kind of like pre-qualify these people?
Right. So again, we'll go back to that's why I prefer the community referral. It's
Yes.
it's a lot more quality referral. Like,
So you
hey,
don't have to deal with any of that stuff.
yeah, it's like if my neighbor needs to sell their house or we're thinking about buying, we already talked to our community lender and we're ready to go. I like that. So
Yeah.
I put a lot less emphasis on those kind of leads that you're talking about. They're still there, and they're mostly there for my team. I want them to have a steady source, whether they're difficult leads or not, because their communities aren't built yet, but they still need to pay the bills and have buy groceries. So they still need to work through those. So we've actually invested in robots. I mean, we have the artificial intelligence there, so that when those things come into Facebook, they hit Lion Desk and they start communicating with them. Like, hey, what made you reach out? How can I help you? They're sending them emails, and once they start responding and giving us the info that we need, then we'll connect as a human. So we see it happening. But yeah, I got some robots that are handling that before it ever reaches a person. So is
Okay.
that cheating? I don't know. Say, but that's
At all.
it's just working the system.
It's not cheating at all. It's just you're working way smarter than other agents
Mhm.
that are doing it manually. We as an agency use a lot of robots. As a matter of fact, for Instagram, for Facebook, for even like for the little stuff that can be done manually, we use robots. And we've came to the point where we're not even using robots on our computers. We rent out different computers or servers, and
Mhm.
we let the robots work 24/7 around the clock. So
Yep.
it's very smart. I love when people talk about artificial intelligence and robots. But we're gonna wrap this up. I want you kind of to give the new real estate agents, people that are struggling, like the last kind of tip, like a golden nugget on what they should do to kind of like double or maybe triple their sales.
Yep. The best thing I ever did was invest in a coach and a community. Being an island in this business is tough. And being an island, I mean, is where you are by yourself. You're trying to do everything yourself. We're hit with so many things. So I gave some, like, just in the last 15 minutes, how many different types of lead generation did we talk about? I mean, it was a bunch, like 7 different ways that you can get business. So new
Yeah.
agents tend to take that and they're like, well, I need to be doing those. She mentioned all this. I need to do this. I need to do that. That's the truth is you've got to find what works for you and do that, not try to do everything. And when you get into a community of people who are both of ahead and behind you in the process, you've got mentors and then you've got people who are also getting started with you, is that you can converse about these things, mastermind about what's working, what's not working, find those things, those 3 blocks that you use. My 3 pillars are it's database, it's business to business, referrals back and forth, and then social media. That's it. So we talked about door knocking, but after some focused coaching over the last few years, and I've narrowed that down to this is what I do. So I don't knock on doors anymore. That's not in one of those top 3. So I focus on those things. So if I have to sum it up, it's get a coach, get a community. I have weekly accountability meetings, even though I'm a coach and I have people I coach with. I also have coaches coaching me. And I think it's just that passing of knowledge and looking to the people that are ahead of you that just really helps. And that accountability and someone to bounce ideas off of. When you have the next latest and greatest entrepreneurial idea, it's nice to have a couple people hear about it before you go and make the mistakes. You don't have to make every mistake. There's people who've made them already, and they
Yeah.
will tell you about them.
And
So
that's
that's
why a
what
coach
it
is there
is.
for you.
Yep,
Got
coach and community.
Yes. All right, guys. So this is pretty much it for today's live. If you're a realtor trying to invest in a coach, please reach out to Kelly. Um, if you're watching this in replay, go ahead and comment replay. And until next time, Kelly, thank you so much for joining us. I know you're busy, and I'm gonna let you go right now. I know you have a meeting. Thank you, and I appreciate you so much.
Sure, no problem. So, yep, anyone reach out to me, just message me, and I'll pick up the phone and we can talk. So, if you have a question, let me know.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you
Okay,
for having me.
bye.
Bye.